Hello folks, I'm Alex, this is Alex Unabridged, and this is my March wrap-up. So welcome back to the channel if that is the case. Yep, we are into April already, so it's about time I did the March wrap-up. So yes, a little bit of a light month, March, because of the flu, the dreaded flu. Fortunately, not the dreaded COVID, but it still knocked me out for a good couple of weeks. So yes, a little bit of a lighter month, but that hopefully, no guarantees, but that hopefully means this will be a slightly shorter video than I usually do. I'm trying, honestly, but you know, what can I say? First of all, into my reading and listening. My Adventures in Genre video is out. That was Mystery Month. So I will link in the description to that for my full breakdown of those. That's Adventures in Genre episode 3. But yes, I read The Body in the Library by Agatha Christie and The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. So if you want to know more about those, do check out the Adventures in Genre video. Okay, what else did I read? For my book club with my mum and my sister, which we were meant to have a face-to-face book club get-together on holiday, and then I didn't make it because of the flu. I didn't get on holiday. So we still have to have our book club, which will be done by Zoom, I think. But that was Animal Farm by George Orwell, which I had seen the cartoon of, the animated version of, which I really liked. And I also saw a stage version of it quite a few years ago now, in Edinburgh, done by a Georgian theatre company in Georgian, which was interesting. Very good, but quite strange. Strange in a good way, though. So for anybody who doesn't know, it's, it follows the animals on a farm that they take it over. They're overworked, mistreated, and they rebel, they revolt, and take the farm from the farmer. And they start off really idealistic and, have all these, sort of great slogans, and they set out to kind of sort of set up this kind of utopian paradise of progress and justice, and where all animals are equal. It actually follows the evolution, essentially, from that set of ideals and utopian vision to how you go from tyranny through that to a totalitarian state, which is just as terrible as the original tyranny. For me, it's such a good, accessible story with such a strong message. For me, I'll give it a 5 out of 5 for me in my rating, because it's I just think it's, as I say, it's so engaging. It's it makes you think. It's powerful. The way that Orwell uses this farm setup to illustrate the sorts of tactics that totalitarian leaders use to control the population, to from the sort of the changing of the rewriting of history, turning on others, the violent oppression of citizens, things like that. It's like it's kind of shocking still in terms of how it feels when you're reading it, and the fact that this still feels very powerful to read or to listen to. It was Stephen Fry narrating it, and he was spot on, I have to say. It's still ferociously good. So yes, I very much enjoyed that. What else? I didn't actually read anything else kind of text-based, at least not to completion. What I did get through, I got to the point where I was coming out of the flu and I knew I couldn't handle still like, a big book, but I wanted to consume something. And so I went to comics. I went to my comics. They're a bit more manageable in that situation. So I read issues 1 and 2 of Night of the Ghoul by Scott Snyder and Francesco Francavilla. Bit of horror. I do like Scott Snyder. I do very much like Scott Snyder, as you will see in my upcoming top 10 comics and graphic novels video. So yes, this is this kind of intercuts between past and present day happenings and tells the story of a lost horror film. Yeah, I really liked this. This has a lot of potential. It's kind of got a lot of intrigue to it, definitely, and the artwork is really nice. Actually, it's really good artwork. It's definitely something that I will continue with. As I say, I've only read issues 1 and 2. I've got access to it all, however many. I think there's maybe 6 or 8 issues of it. On Kindle Unlimited, but it is out. Obviously, I think the trade paperback of it is coming out later in the year. If you want it on in hard copy. But yeah, I picked it up because it's Kindle Unlimited, and I kind of I need to catch up with some Scott Snyder stuff. And so yeah, I've read the first 2 so far. So I will continue on with that, definitely. As I say, it shows a lot of promise. And it's definitely intriguing. So that one I will keep going with. The other comic that I am still reading, I started and still reading, is Colder, the complete collection. I'm probably about halfway through, I think, something like that. And this is written by Paul Tobin, and the art is by a guy whose name I'm not going to try and pronounce because I will butcher it, but I will put it up on screen. Basically, we meet Declan Thomas, who, when we first meet him, is in kind of some sort of a seemingly catatonic state. His caretaker, kind of says that he moves around and washes himself and stuff like that, but he doesn't interact with anyone. And then he starts to interact with her. But yeah, basically, his body temperature is always dropping. He doesn't get sick. He doesn't feel any pain. He's an ex-inmate of an asylum that got destroyed in a fire, and he has a strange ability to kind of go inside someone's mind, the mind of someone who is insane, who is mad, and sometimes cure it. And he hopes to be able to find a way to cure his own mental illness at some stage. But time is running out for him because he's being pursued by a demon, essentially, a demon predator called Nimble Jack, who is pursuing him through a kind of a nightmarish version of Boston. And when Declan's body temperature finally reaches 0, that's it. He's done. So it's a strange one. This one, it's twisted. It is quite twisted. It's quite pulpy. It's a bit clunky, I have to say, in the way that it tells the story. It's not the most refined book storytelling, and it has got some cliches in terms of how it represents and discusses mental health. So it's not the best in terms of its storytelling, but the artwork pulls it up, I have to say. The artwork is vivid, it's disturbing in parts. I mean, look at the cover. It's very detailed and it's quite painterly, the art style. The eyes of the characters I find particularly unsettling. It's an unsettling style. It's very good. I really like it. It's an entertaining enough read so far. It's decent. As I say, it's quite twisted, but I like that. It's a horror comic at the end of the day. I will come back to it in a future video when I've finished the entire collection, because I want to see where it goes and how it ends and stuff. But so far, it's undemanding to read, and as I say, the visuals are interesting. So what else? I re-listened to Project Hail Mary while I was poorly, because I think I've said this before. It's a big warm hug of a book, and it's something I've listened to before. And I fell asleep through it multiple times whilst I was poorly, but then I could just skip back and, I wasn't missing anything because I know where it goes. But I thoroughly enjoyed that as a comfort read whilst I was poorly. And the final thing that I have been reading in March, and actually was reading back in February but forgot to put in my March wrap-up, and that I'm still reading and working my way through gradually, is Protect Me from the Things I Think I Want, by Mr. Troy Trarup. And for anybody who doesn't know, Troy is also a booktuber as well as a writer and playwright extraordinaire. So I will link to Troy's channel in the description. Go check it out. He's got lots of really good content, really chill, really good discussions, thoughts about his reading, etc., and various things like that, and some lovely showcases of some pretty fancy books. So yes, but I've been chipping away at this. I devoured the short stories in pretty much one sitting. Actually, they're great, really good, really compelling. Some really interesting mix of things, themes, etc. And I'm now into the plays. Plays will take me a little while to get through because I do read plays differently. I will read them sort of once for a kind of a look at the story and the kind of the text, if you like, the writing, and then I'll want to go back over them and think more about like how I would realise them if I was staging them. That tends to be how I read plays. But yes, so far so good, very good stuff. So I will come back to that with my final undiluted verdict when I finish them. So yes, so that is my reading for March, reading and listening. So onto the writing, again, not as much. I've not got through as much in March because of being flu-y. So I need to get back into it really as a nightly habit again. I've still been quite wiped out the last week or so. So I've been going to bed a bit earlier, or just not being able to focus on kind of writing stuff. I've been up and I've been watching TV and things like that, but I haven't been writing, so I need to get back into it. But before I was ill, I got a bit done. I got a bit more done on some of my flash fiction memoir pieces. So I'm going to keep chipping away at those. But they're quite hard, these ones. They are quite difficult to write, and the whole kind of project of that is become not overly difficult, but I know where the stumbling blocks are on that, I think, and that's because as I'm kind of thinking about these moments, these memories, and converting them into fictional pieces or fiction inspired by the events, I find other memories pop up. It's kind of like association memories. Some of those which were kind of sort of more long forgotten memories and ones that were a little bit more difficult to kind of deal with in terms of there's a reason why they were long forgotten. I obviously pushed them back a little bit. But I'm in a position where I can deal with that now, and this is a good exercise to kind of getting some catharsis, if you like. So I'm just going to keep kind of chipping away and keep working through them and turn them into something creative, and that will help me kind of like just kind of put everything together in a kind of neatish a neatish format. And the other thing that I did before I got ill was managed to write a couple of very dirty drafts of another couple of chapters on the novel that I'm working on, which is kind of folk horror, thriller, mystery stuff, police procedural. I don't know what it is yet in terms of genre. I know what the story is, but I'm not sure what you'd put it in as genre. but yeah, I managed to get another couple of chapters done on that, which is kind of a bit more kind of character introduction. So I'm starting to feel like I'm actually starting to get to know the characters a bit more now. They're kind of they're fleshing out a bit in my mind, and I can kind of sort of starting to see where that, you know, how they'd behave in certain situations, and that will lead me on, give me momentum into the story. So yes, I'm going to keep chipping away at that as well. So yeah, that's on my writing for this month. And I have making in my title sequence and all of that. And yeah, I've not really talked about making stuff yet with regards to things that are connected to books. But you know, hopefully that is going to change now. I've got a couple of ideas for zines that I've been working on, so I should hopefully have a bit more to potentially show soon as well. So yeah, a couple of zine ideas, just little things that pop into my head. I've also got some art ideas for artwork that taps into my love of books. The more I kind of read and talk about books with all you good folks here on BookTube, the more I want to kind of include bits and pieces of that sort of stuff into my own work. And some of my bigger projects are causing me a little bit of a headache at the moment because they're big and unwieldy, and kind of I get a bit lost with them sometimes. And so these pieces will be nice little palette cleanser pieces that I will step away from my big projects and do a couple of little lino cuts or paintings or something like that that will be around the you know, bookish things. And also, and this is kind of book adjacent, I've been going through you know, my shelves downstairs a bit. I'm getting ready to do a proper clear out downstairs, which is something I'll probably do in the next couple of weeks, and I'll do a little kind of vloggy type thing of my bookshelf reorganization and clear out and things I'll unhaul and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've kind of like been, you know, every time I pass the shelves, they annoy the crap out of me because they're messy and disorganized and stuff like that. And I noticed there's quite a few books on there that I'm kind of done with, that I know will go into the kind of I don't want any more pile. But they are things that are either falling apart or are full of like notes, things like that. And so therefore I can't really pass them on. They're not suitable for passing on to charity shops, secondhand bookshops, libraries, etc. Nor would I even want to, you know, impose them on friends. So that they're kind of done, basically. If I'm not going to keep them, they're kind of done with. Their life as a book is over, unfortunately. But their lives can go on. So yeah, I'm gonna make some art with them. Speaking of making, I am going to start soon, once I finish my top 10s, which probably will be by the end of next week. I'm gonna do a couple of little things what I made videos of, you know, book adjacent things. So I've got a couple of books, zines, pamphlets, you know, wordy things, poetry books, stuff like that I've made or been involved in collaborative making in the past. So I'll start to do a couple of little showcases of stuff like that as well. So yes, so I think that's it for my March wrap up. We are into April now, and I have got a lot to get through in April. Those of you who have seen my TBR will know what I mean. If you haven't, I will link to it in the description, and you can see that I've probably bitten off more than I can chew. But yes, I need to crack on with my reading for April, reading and listening. But yes, that is therefore it from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider giving me a like and subscribing for more content coming soon. But from me, for now, that's ta-ra.